his confidence and his bravado. You know, you walked in, everyone is pretty much sharply dressed. He comes in, jeans, leather jacket, cigarette, looking like a black
Kid Cudi, though.
But it's a black James Dean.
Real life.
It ain't real life. Just ain't real life street stars. Know what time it is. Anyway, let me ask you, because this is where Diddy, this is when you hear the Cassie case, I think the next strongest witness they pulled forward was Kid Cudi. Now, this Kid Cudi thing, well, first let me address this. Kanye West just tweeted. He's like, dang, Kid Cudi, I hate they got you to testify against Diddy. Like, we shouldn't testify against each other into the white man system. And again, I might want to make it about race, but this is Kanye. This is Kanye West thinking that, like, why are you playing into the system of their hands when you don't testify against your brother, bro? I mean, but you know, a car did get blown up. So, first of all, what is your take on Kid Cudi testifying?
We don't know why he was there. I mean, if he received a subpoena, he has to show up. Plain and simple.
But can you plead the fifth?
Or what happens if you don't show up?
You will have law enforcement find you wherever you are, and they will bring you and put you in a detention center until it's time for you to testify.
Right.
But, wait. So what if I just refuse to speak? Like, I'm not saying shit, man.
You got to go on the stand.
No. Watch this. I'll tell you. Okay. Just watch the YSL trial.
Yeah, you got to go on that stand.
When Woody did that, and they would send him back.
No, if I'm saying, like, I refuse to?
No, that's what I'm saying. If you refuse to speak and answer the questions after you've been instructed by a judge to answer the question, you will be sent back to the jail. Hold on. For those who see my eyes moving, because you said I have shifty eyes, they are spread out, and so I'm following the person who's asking me the question. So
they should know that by now.
So how long can you be held? Indefinitely?
Man, that's a very good question.
Because can they hide you for
the trial's over? I guess I'm assuming.
That's a very good question. I will have to get back with you on that.
Okay,
because there is. I am pretty sure that they can hold you for basically it's up to the judge. But I'm also not sure if there is a trigger in the sense that, is there a mini trial that needs to happen or a hearing that needs to happen to discuss that whole detention process? So that's a very
because I'm just thinking, like, it seems like holding people in contempt. We've seen judges, like, if a person gets smart with them, oh, that's 2 months, oh, that's 3 months, oh, that's 6 months. Can they just really hand you that time if you've done nothing wrong and you just, I don't want to cooperate. I don't like law enforcement. I don't like the judicial system. I don't want to cooperate. So now that there's a prejudice against me because I don't want to cooperate, I can be held in jail for an indefinite amount of time.
I'm not going to say indefinite, but there has to be, I think it has to be a trigger to let you out.
Right.
And so that's a very good question, because usually when someone's held in contempt, there is kind of a process in which they can either bond out until hearing is had. And usually once you get to that point, it's lifted and it goes away. And it's just a form of basically making you answer the question.
Right. And just a side conversation on that, there's a video going viral where a dude, I guess he committed murder or multiple murders, and the judge hit him with a $1 million bond.
Mm-hmm.
He like, that ain't enough. I need $1 billion. That's disrespectful. Give me $1 billion. And the judge, I'll show it to you. The judge ended up pushing it to $100 million. He's like, no, that ain't, I told you $1 billion. What? So I'm like, and mind you, and I think she might have put it to 10 million, not even 100 million, but 10 million versus 1 million, because he was just so arrogant about the murders. Like, I did that. Is that just jumping from 1 million to 10 million based on him just saying, give me $1 billion? That ain't enough. Like, what is that as far as within her legal right to all right, let me show you.
She's going to have the ACLU come after her. Because the thing is, and I work with an organization that deals with bail reform. I'm actually an officer. And bail reform is basically you can't hold people in jail with unfair bonds or high bonds based on what the alleged crime they've committed. And so,
but if he said that he had the money,
regardless of what he said, regardless of what he said, to put a bond so high that you know someone cannot pay it is going to be unconstitutional. So she will probably hear about that from one of those organizations, if not from my organization.
right. I'm gonna show you the video. I'm gonna have you look into it.
In that regard, because if you look at Yellow Beezy in the trial that we talked about, the bond in that, Grandma said, look, he is no longer that artist he was when he was hot. And he's no longer doing the same things. He no longer owns the same things. He no longer has the same money coming in. Therefore, the judge in that case reduced the bond. And so to raise the bond just because you got someone acting a fool, I mean, if anything, she just should have just looked at him, because now his attorney potentially has a reason to recuse that judge from his client's case.
Correct.
Because that could be seen as an act of aggression or prejudice.
Oh yeah, without question. So as Rook was saying, Kid Cudi going on stand, he has the ability to say, I don't remember, I don't recall. I'm assuming he could plead the fifth, I'm assuming there's ways for him not to actually speak to the questions that are being asked to him, I'm assuming. Shout
out to Woody. He's a professor in that. And so he probably should teach a master class on I don't recall. So shout out to Lil Bro on that. But the whole situation with Kid Cudi getting on the stand and testifying in this case, I don't know if it was as damaging as people say. What was damaging was the star power. What was damaging was his confidence and his bravado. You know, you walked in, everyone is pretty much sharply dressed. He comes in, jeans, leather jacket, cigarette, looking like a black
Kid Cudi, though.
But it's a black James Dean, right?
Yeah, that's Kid Cudi,
though. but that demeanor probably warranted more interest than what he actually said, because we're gonna talk about it. He said he had discussions with Diddy. He saw allegedly Diddy grab guns, or someone said they grabbed guns. No, I think that was the actual assistant who said that. But he talked about he made the statement that he knew Puffy was dangerous. But there was nothing that really substantiated.
He called him a Marvel supervillain.
Right.
Like, damn it, come on, Cudi.
I feel like, and I don't know how much of this goes into like how, as a witness being taken serious, like his outside life doesn't really speak to a character that you would say, okay, we believe what you're talking about.
But it's something about a person's bravado that makes you take note, right? It's the woman who walks in, who hair might be flawless, but she has on a jogging suit.
Mm-hmm.
But she moves as if you say to yourself, that's a boss.
Right.
It's the guy who comes in who has on jeans and a sport coat and everyone has on a suit, and you watch how others react to him, that makes you say, who is that guy? And you got to remember, the courtroom was full of people who wanted to see him. And so even if the jurors didn't know who he was, when he walked in, like I said before, in that James Dean type bravado, and for the Gen Xers and those who don't know who James Dean is, look him up, Google him. But he walks in and sits down and confidently speaks and has this bravado and sense of surety about himself. That makes you take notice more than if he came in and had a suit on.
Mm-hmm. Now, seeing as though he had an actual relationship or dealings with Cassie, does that come into play when you're thinking about what he would say against a dude who also had the same dealings? Like, is that taken into account? Like, because if I was dealing with a woman I liked and you had the ups on me with that woman, yeah, you blew up my car. Yeah, you did all that because you had the woman that I wanted.
Man, if we take ourselves out of it, right? We take ourselves out of it. This actually sounds like 10 or 20 situations we all seen in high school.
For sure. Absolutely.
Some guy dated a girl, they broke up, another guy started dating her, the first guy gets upset, they talk or they fight or they do whatever they do, and the first guy makes the situation so uncomfortable that the girl and the second guy break up, and then she ends up back with the first guy. We've seen that. That's a story as old as time.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that he really talked about that should have drawn interest, and I think everyone was looking at, was the fact that allegedly he broke into his house, Cudi's house. He went through Christmas presents. He put his dog into the bathroom.
That's wild.
The dog is now traumatized, which I object to, and I think that's going to come up on appeal.
Wait. What's your objection? Like, object. What are you objecting? The dog is traumatized. What we objecting?
We're not here for animal cruelty. We're not here for animal cruelty. And it's several, if you think about it, looking for a reason, you bring in this woman who's pregnant and you show this video of me beating her in a hallway. You let people come up and basically say that I'm the mob, and none of them have ever seen me do it. They've never seen me shoot a gun. They've never seen me, other than one or two people who may have physically or actually saw him hit her or claim that Diddy hit them. But everybody else just saw bruises and marks. No one really saw him do anything. And then there was actually testimony that came in that said that the fingerprints during the car incident were female. And so there's no video, there's nothing. And it's just real curious.
So when Cudi says, yeah, he took the Chanel presents and gifts and my dog was in the bathroom, it's Cudi's saying something to pay him as like a dog abuser. As a defense, your objection, like, hey, hold on, wait a minute. Like, stop. Like, what are we doing?
Hold on. Do we even really believe Puff Daddy broke into Kid Cudi's house?
I believe that shit.
You believe a millionaire nigga broke into?
I believe he masked up.
So
wait, was it Puff Daddy or Puffy or Sean?
Right. It was before Love. This is before Love.
Was this him with the mohawk?
Yeah, this is definitely Puffy.
So
he likes to get his hands dirty.
Yeah.
So this is a large part of the issue with all of that. As far as the prosecution is what they're doing, like I said before, is painting him as this villain, showing how controlling he is. And so that goes to that point. As a defense attorney, how do you bring in, this is a criminal trial, how do you bring in this evidence to try to get beyond a reasonable doubt when there is just like this mysterious ghost figure that he's supposed to be, this mysterious mastermind that he's supposed to be? Now, the things that they actually have him on, I think they got him on the drugs. I think they got him on the money and the transactions dealing with the drugs and the transactions dealing with the prostitutes.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have him on that. But this whole situation with him being this Marvel supervillain, right? This black Lex Luthor, in a sense, to a jury, as we go along, at some point you say, man, hold up. Y'all said a whole lot about this man being a villain, but you haven't shown one video, one photograph, or anyone who ever saw him commit these crimes.
Shout out RealLyfe Street Starz, nigga. Move. Hey.